here especially, there's this feeling of peace, this feeling of harmony. I think it's what they call the feng shui of the place. In fact, in the first week, I was contemplating of going back to Malta. First day I got lost. In 1999, most of the streets looked the same. So I went to the police station. But when I went to the police station, then I realized that I didn't have the address. I was telling the policeman, I said, listen, I know this place is next to a 7-Eleven somewhere. And they were all staring at me like, I said something weird. One of them tried to explain to me in broken English, telling me that like in Taiwan there are like several hundreds of 7-Elevens scattered everywhere.
Every block.
Like, every block. Going through culture shock can be horrible sometimes. Sometimes you can hear other foreigners, and I was this foreigner before, complaining about the culture and why don't they do this. At some point you realize that you cannot change the atmosphere here, but you have to change.
Cole Fogel here today, and today I'm with, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Simon Kuskier, if you like. I'm from Malta. And for those who don't know, Malta is a small island next to Sicily. And I've been here for quite a while.
Is Malta smaller than Taiwan?
I'd say much smaller than Taiwan, yes.
What does Malta look like? Like, how would you describe it?
Okay, so there's a lot of culture in Malta. So for example, there are many churches because Malta is like it's a Catholic island. So being Catholic is part of the culture. And as I said, many churches, many cathedrals. Many wars had been fought in Malta. There's a lot of 15th, 16th century architecture. That's when the Knights of St. John came over and they reconstructed the island. There used to be the old capital city, which is Mdina. And then there's Valletta, which is the new capital city. And there are many villages, so there's a lot of culture happening.
Like the way you describe Malta, it sounds like a very cultural, diverse, beautiful place.
Yes.
Why, like what made you come to Taiwan?
Very good question. Okay, what happened was, I used to teach English in a school, IELS. At that time, there were only like a handful of schools in Malta. But now there are many schools teaching English.
Sorry, you were teaching in Malta.
I was teaching English in Malta, yes. Prior to that, I was working at the bank. And then I realized that I'm not a person made for office politics. I can't, surviving in the bank. It was, how can I say? It was a mesh between like comedy and a nightmare. So then I remember working at the school for some time. Then there was an opportunity where like 7 teachers were chosen to go over to Italy, working in the same school, living in the same apartment, and I was one of the chosen ones. But then at some point I said, this is going to be impossible, like me trying to survive with 7 other teachers, especially if they are Maltese and loud and argumentative. And I remember at that time there was a site called Dave's ESL Cafe. They offered many jobs, like whether you can work in Korea or Japan, mostly in Asia.
I remember that, yeah.
So then I just chose Taiwan. I said, I'll come over to Taiwan for a holiday. Whether it's going to be a month or 2 months or whatever. And from this 2-month holiday, I've extended this to 25 years. I'm still here since that time. Yes.
You came on holiday in 1999.
Exactly.
And you've been here ever
since.
On
a working holiday.
So when you arrived, you came to Taichung.
I came to Taichung, and I called the agent, the IACC something.
Okay, so we've had to relocate. It was getting a little bit noisy where we were. Can you describe your first week in Taichung?
So the first week was weird, and I would say the first week was horrible to tell you the truth.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
In fact, in the first week, I was contemplating of going back to Malta. The first day I got lost, and when I got lost, I left my cell phone in the apartment, and the reason was I knew I was going out for a few minutes. So, and the thing is with Taiwan, most of the streets, all of the streets look similar. So, for example,
especially back in 1999.
In 1999, most of the streets look the same, and in every street there was a 7-Eleven convenience store. So then I remember, I walked around for about 3 or 4 hours, and I still couldn't find the apartment. So I went to the police station. But when I went to the police station, then I realized that I didn't have the address somewhere because it was all written on my phone, on the messages. I was telling the policeman, I said, listen, I know this place is next to a 7-Eleven somewhere. And they were all staring at me like, I said something weird. One of them tried to explain to me in broken English, telling me that like in Taiwan there are like several hundreds of 7-Elevens
On
scattered everywhere.
every
And I'm
block.
like, every block. At that night, I remember walking along the river in Taichung, and there was this place, this bar called Napoli's, and I found a few, met a few foreigners, and I had no cash on me at that time. Because remember, initially I only wanted to go out for 5 minutes, but I got lost. And I remember meeting one person, if you're listening, his name was Kirk Marston, and he was kind enough, to buy me a few drinks and keep me company till say, I think it was until 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And I'm thinking that the agency would open like in the morning at 8 a.m. Then I discovered that they open at around 11 a.m. Went over to the agency and tried to explain to them what happened. Then I remember, like in this apartment, I thought I had the apartment all to myself, but I was wrong. I remember walking back to the apartment one day, and there's someone in the apartment. I'm saying, like, I said, I'm sorry, like, who are you? And he's asking me, like, who are you? Right? Well, you're not supposed to be here. And he's telling me, well, you're not supposed to be here. The agent's name, it was Josh. I said, I came here to Josh. He said, I also came here to Josh.
You're in a place you've never been before.
Yes.
Everything's confusing, and then to top it off, you had a roommate that
Yes.
you didn't know was your roommate.
Yes. My first job was in Fongia, and things just changed instantly.
Sorry, so you moved from Taichung
Yes.
City.
To
Fongyuan.
a Fongyuan, to a school in Fongyuan, and I was living in the school. The thing is, in the morning, now you don't need to commute.
How long did you live in that situation?
I think it was about a year. Working here, I learned two things. It's funny. This is a culture of face. And and people don't want to lose face, so they're petrified of speaking publicly, because if they make a mistake, then they'll be remembered for that one mistake. I'd hate to say, especially high schools. Sometimes you get students just speaking, I call them one-word sentences. So you'll be speaking, oh, hi, how are you? Fine. What did you do yesterday? Huh? What did you do yesterday? Oh, eat. And then you have to fill in the space, right? And it's quite tiring. At that time, this was like 25 years ago, like the rate for teaching was quite high, but
It hasn't changed much.
and
though.
it hasn't changed. No, 25 years.
It's like I think it's time for an upgrade.
yes, I
It's
don't
time
think
for an
that
upgrade
yes.
for Taiwanese teachers as well. Taiwan and the cost of living and the economy, everything has gone up, but the
Yes.
salary has remained
especially
virtually
rent.
the same.
Yes, rent has doubled or tripled
Yeah.
in certain cases.
What keeps you here? Like, you've been here now over 25 years, as you say, in Taichung.
Because it's a vibe you get, like, you vibe with this place, so it's the chemistry, right? It's not something you can put your finger on. It's something, and I'm starting to realize what it is. I think there's a certain peace here, and it's also a safe environment. People to choose to be polite initially rather than, start an argument. Very different to Malta, by the
I
way.
appreciate that
right?
about here.
So that's why when I go back to Malta, then it's reverse culture shock. Like, wow, people are so loud and so aggressive, and they're not. They're just being Maltese. Here, especially, there's this feeling of peace, this feeling of harmony. I think it's what they call the feng shui of the place. But whatever it is, it's present, and you feel it more when you travel out of Taiwan. And then you're back and you say, okay, right, now you're back to your normal vibe, which is home.
Taiwan is home to you.
When I'm on my bike and something happens, sometimes I'm not swearing in Maltese, I'm swearing in Taiwanese. You've gotten used to life here. Like, it's become home, you've gotten over culture shock. May I say that going through culture shock can be horrible sometimes. And sometimes you can hear other foreigners, and I was this foreigner before, complaining about the culture and why don't they do this. At some point you realize that you cannot change the atmosphere here, but you have to change.
Yeah, 100%.
This happens gradually. Like, it's not going to happen over a year or two. There are quite a few foreigners who don't speak Chinese. I think it's essential to know how to speak the basic language. Because as they say, language is culture, culture is language. And it's important because it's like, okay, if you can't speak the language, it's like trying to swim upstream with one arm.
So aside from teaching, you have other passions in your life.
Yes. In Malta, we had this duet, like we were a wedding band.
The wedding singers.
Yes, we're the wedding singers. Well, my friend was the singer. I was the backing singer. You know.
What do you play? Guitar?
I play guitar. In the 80s, if you wanted to learn guitar, you had to buy an instructional video. Now you couldn't find these instructional videos in Malta, because there was a lot of, there was a lot of like censorship of everything at that time. You know, government, but we're not going there. You couldn't order them, because if you ordered them and they decided, get custom, they decided that these videos were could influence the culture somehow, then they had the right to retain them. So I remember my dad used to travel, like it was his job, he used to travel, and he used to go to England and find these instructional videos. If I was 35 when I started performing, I'm 54 now, and I would perform nearly every week.
All right, so teacher, musician, and then you started painting?
I started late. I started at the age of 42. I took this very seriously, oil painting. And I was my own teacher.
What do you like about oil painting?
The thing is, oil painting is something classic. It will never die.
Do you have your art on like that we can share, like on Facebook or Instagram?
I don't, and the reason why I don't, because usually my agent keeps my portfolio. By the way, agents, if you're selling your art, they can take up to 50 or 60%. But that's okay. At least they are positioning you within the market. And I remember the first exhibition, like I sold probably more than half.
Wow.
So now I do this on a part-time and full-time basis, like, the painting.
So you're teaching still?
I'm teaching still.
You're painting?
I'm painting
Are you still performing with music?
And I'm still performing once or twice a week.
Oh, you're a busy guy.
So I have one son.
And where does he lives?
He lives in Malta.
Oh, you must miss him, I imagine.
Yes. The thing is, it's not like he's my son anymore. What I mean to say, on a very positive, it's like we're friends.
I got you. How old is he?
He's 29.
Oh, wow.
And
a grown-up son.
And I have a granddaughter.
So has your son ever visited here?
No, but he's going to be visiting next year.
Come and visit your father. Is he excited to visit?
He's very excited, yes. But the thing is with my son, like we're on, Messenger, like nearly every day.
Oh, that's nice.
Every day, like. And I also have a granddaughter.
Wow.
Now, do I feel like I'm a grandfather? I don't,
Wait, how old were you when you had your son then? If he's 29?
I was about 25.
29-year-old son.
29-year,
Because I've got a 9-year-old and a 14-year-old.
14 is a very sensitive
Give me
age.
some advice.
When you get into an argument, and this will happen with your son, daughter, whatever.
Of course.
It would be better to be a little bit of a pushover than try to win the argument. Now, sometimes we think, okay, I have to show I'm the father, I have to win the argument. Because they're still growing up, then you might get them against you. When you're a bit of a pushover, then they're the ones who overreacted. Another thing is, it's true many parents buy gifts for their sons and daughters, but it's more important to make experiences with them.
That's more important than gifts, I agree with you.
The small things are the big things, are the greatest things you can do. Small things are like, for example, sometimes you need to be a bit more patient. Sometimes you need to be a bit more considerate. Patience is when you sit down, have a chance to reflect, and you do not act impulsively. Don't act impulsively, because sometimes when you act impulsively, especially with your family, you might say something which you don't want to say, and that something can have an impact all your life. I think many parents become narcissistic here.
Yes.
When I say narcissistic, it means they don't apologize, because they believe that if they apologize, then they're going to lose control. And it's totally the opposite. It's not about controlling. It's about managing.
Well, and also realizing your child is not your property. You're guiding them.
You're guiding them, exactly.
But they are not your property, and you can't let your ego try to control how they want to live.
Exactly.
You have to let them make those choices.
Yes.
What values are most important to you?
The first value, more than love, is respect. If you love somebody, you should not take them for granted, because that will not only kill the love, and it will kill any respect you might have towards each other. So I think another important value is to is the way we respond. I do believe in the proverb that words are like arrows. Once you say something, you cannot unsay it. If you need to say something to someone, I think it's good to rehearse what you have to say. And it has to be very concise.
How do you define happiness?
Wow. Okay. Happiness is a choice. You can choose to be happy.
Yeah.
Embrace what you have.
Yeah.
Happiness is embrace what you have.
Yeah.
And embrace the people around you. It's funny. People actually feel this. If you embrace the people around you,
yeah.
they can actually feel it. Even though they might be a bit antagonist towards you.
Our bodies
Yes.
have energy. Like you have
Sure.
an actual
Resonance, yes,
energy
yes.
resonance around your body. People
Yes.
feel it, literally.
Yeah. Now, I would like to give some advice over here. Okay, if you're planning to do something, for example, you want to be an artist, you want to be a teacher and whatever, don't say anything, don't reveal your plans before you become the teacher. I'm not going to tell you why.
Yeah.
You're thinking positively about yourself, so your resonance, your magnitude is how intense your
It's up
energy
here.
is. It's up here. But if you're telling other friends who don't think that,
Who are down here.
that you have what it takes
Yeah.
to become a teacher,
Yeah.
then now you've got 10 people
Yeah.
thinking negatively against you. So the magnitude of their energy can overpower the magnitude of your energy.
Yeah.
It says, never say you're dead until you reach the kingdom of heaven.
Ooh, I like that.
Yes.
I like that. Well, brother,
Thanks
we
very
could-
much.
we
man.
could
It was
talk
very
for
nice,
hours.
yes.
I mean,
we can talk for a whole week.
there could be
here.
a part 2 at some
Yes.
point. And on that note, have a wonderful
Thanks very
morning,
much.
afternoon, or evening,
Cheers.
wherever you are. Hope you enjoy this episode. Please like,
you.
please subscribe. Subscribing really motivates me to make more videos. And I will see you in the next one.
Thanks.